Hey guys, how's it going today? Wanted to bring a topic to you, talking about barefoot running versus shoed running, or running with shoes. Whole reasoning for doing this is because a lot of people will want to run barefoot as opposed to shoes, and reporting that kind of people have decreased amount of injuries running in one form or another. Allison, thanks for joining me. Good to see you. Let me know if this is rotated right, or if I should rotate it back up, because I'm kind of doing this landscape view today. So yeah, anyways, there was a study done where they compared similar amount of mileage, similar amount of volume between people who ran barefoot and people who ran with shoes. And it was kind of interesting because they measured the amount of injuries that both of these two groups had. And what they found with this research study was that amongst the shoed runners, or runners who wear running shoes, they had a injury distribution through kind of common running injuries that we would see: knee pain, hip pain, foot pain, things like that. And then amongst the barefoot running group, they had it was not purely, but more substantial base of injuries purely related to kind of what's called the plantar surface of the foot. So if this is the foot, kind of on the underneath spot, right where that foot is contacting the ground. And so what's interesting is the barefoot population had less overall injuries, but even more interestingly, it was more specific to where we're contacting the ground, which would almost make sense because we're putting more force, and it's just kind of building up right over kind of basically the plantar tissue, right where the metatarsal heads are going, things like that. And so what I kind of think the main takeaway here is that barefoot running kind of forces your body in a way to respond and react to the ground in maybe a more natural way than kind of shoes, where we have a lot of cushion separating our feet from the ground. And so what the practical take-home point here, I think, in my opinion, is if we transition to more of a minimalist shoe, we can kind of harvest those benefits from a barefoot running style, form, and technique, with also providing some sort of a cushion to avoid some of those plantar surface injuries that we see so often. So that's kind of an interesting topic. I know it can be a polarizing one in the running community, so I'd love to hear if anybody has any thoughts on this one, because I know it can be pretty dividing. But I think my stances on it is, if we can kind of transition to a minimalist shoe, that can kind of you can kind of get the benefits of both running styles. Now, let's say you have pain with running, that can kind of complicate things a little bit, and so that's when I'd recommend you kind of get it looked at, and even coming into the clinic here, we can kind of pick apart kind of what type of runner you are and where you would kind of benefit from in terms of things like heel drop and control of your foot within a shoe, things like that. But if you're not in pain, I would encourage you guys to kind of try both and see what works best for you. A lot of times I would say gradually progress to a minimalist shoe as opposed to just jumping in, because it can put more forces than in areas where maybe you're not as used to feeling those forces during your running. And always start slow with your progressions and whatnot. So kind of an interesting topic. If you guys have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it, because I know it can be a kind of a polarizing one, which would kind of make it fun. So thanks for joining me, and have a good rest of your day, guys. See ya.